Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby, and are you ready for some burst damage in World of Tanks? Well, there's no better contender than the TVP T50/51. Since it went into the game towards the latter part of 2015, it has been competing with the quintessential auto-loading medium tank, the Bat Chatillon, giving it a run for its money as the higher burst damage, the higher DPM, and the better gun depression tank, but still just doesn't have that all-in potential that the Bat Chat has. Now, before I go into more detail, I want to really highlight how important the start of the game is and how important sometimes it is about how you decide to get into position. Instead of just driving down this alleyway and maybe getting lit up and spotted and nailed by the opponents in the back, instead we decided to use the low ground. Here, if I see that there's an enemy medium tank rushing up, I'm just going to pause the replay to highlight how important this is. By going through this area, if there's a medium tank that instead decides to rush up here, I can decide to not engage. I can end up in this position and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can back off if maybe there's two medium tanks that I don't think I can handle. By driving up this way as well, you don't just drive towards your enemy's gun line, and you can work your ridgeline here to be able to protect you from the bush location here. Then by ducking in here after spotted for a little while and getting unspotted, and then what you're going to see me do as well after making sure I'm not lit up by going across that tiny gap is to drive away from the vision that will be here, swing around as much as I can. I guess I could have gone through the bush if I really wanted to min-max there, and now spotted again to use this location to avoid getting shot from tanks that love to sit in this bush down here. And what's my reward? Well, that I get to keep all of my hit points, and yeah, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and that's a dead standard B, and we haven't lost a single hit point in this game. It's those little things in World of Tanks. It's about when you're driving around, you've got to drive with purpose. Now, sure, I'm not suggesting that you drive with purpose the entire time you're playing. That could get kind of exhausting. But it's just through experience and by knowing where your vulnerable areas are when you're pushing in across these lines of fire. And whoa, can we hit these shots? Looks like we hit 1 blind, maybe 2 blind. The third one doesn't quite manage to connect. So there's possibly 640 blind damage that we're going to be adding on to this number later on in the game. We'll have to see if that's going to end up making a difference or not. Spoilers. How can I really say that and not suggest that we're kind of going for a big total in this game? Yeah, we are. So stay tuned in this one. But it's those little things in World of Tanks. You know, you've driven through that alleyway 100 times or more, probably 1,000 times. I've played this map at least 1,000 times before, and it's only through playing the map that much that you learn how to make those maneuvers to avoid the vision and to remain unspotted. And every hit point can count. Every hit point that you save, you can invest later on better in the battle. And with autoloaders, it's very easy to get very excited and to just dive in and think, wow, even if I take a few hits, I'm still going to be able to dump out 1,000 damage or more if I manage to hit all of my shells. But really, it's later on in the battle where light tanks and also autoloaders come alive. You know, when your opponents are now starting to have half of their hit points and you can actually manage to take them out in a single magazine. Well, I bet you were wishing that you could actually take a hit at that stage of the game. And if you've thrown away your hit points earlier on in the battle, yeah, it's really not going to work out for you. Now, I am using vertical stabilizers with an aiming device and also with vents on this tank. And that is because I'm kind of trialing out a build. I don't quite have the final field mod on this tank, but the final field mod is one that actually makes your reload 5% longer. Not very good when your vehicle's about that DPM, but it also lowers the bloom after firing by 15%. And I'm thinking that with an accuracy module that there's not really too much point of using a rotation device on this tank, and by improving the accuracy, which is a fairly, it's okay, it's not bad, but it's still a fairly mediocre 0.35, you can just be so much more consistent with your rounds. And we can see that we're nearly fully aimed between our shots there, even when we are stationary. And that's what you want. There's no point of improving the bloom of a tank after firing, which vertical stabilizers and a rotation device do, and some of the field mods do, if you can manage to be fully aimed while firing at your vehicle's maximum intra-clip reload. And that's why I managed to, on the TVP, I feel like I got a good grasp of it with my vertical stabilizer and my rotation device build. However, oh yeah, don't want to sit in front of an FV405 in that scenario. I'm just hoping that he turns around and then we get to engage him here. But I've dropped out the rotation device because I don't really feel like it's providing that much benefit. And I think that just having the all-round 5 or 7% better accuracy, depending on whether you're putting it in a slot or not, or you're using a bounty device, will be superior on this tank. So I'm just going to go after this FV405. We're going to put 1 in, we're going to put 2 in, 3 in. Are we going to hit the 4th? Oh no, the 4th just misses. But I think that was my fault. I don't think I aimed it quite well enough. Man, if I'd had intuition there and I'd been able to dump in that high explosive magazine, that would have been a thing of beauty. But I don't have intuition on this tank. I don't really have the most skilled Czechoslovakian medium tank crew at the moment. But you know what? Playing this tank, I really wish I did. I really wish I had intuition. I had all the bells and whistles on this vehicle, because switching out for either your heat mag or switching out for your HE mag can be useful. So in this situation, I really feel like it's just about dumping in the rounds. I have to try and get out a mag quickly, and I can't really worry about the tanks that were towards my north. Luckily, my team has pushed in, and I can use this sneaky little alleyway to escape. Does anyone remember when you used to be able to drive up and down here before they removed that? I think that they felt that the middle of the map on Abbey was a little bit too easy to be able to get up and down from, so they decided to nerf that out. Oh dear, my gun depression, even though it's a great 8 degrees, actually lets me down there. But luckily I come around the corner, finish off the T54, and I put 2 extra rounds into the TVP. And this is where this thing just is unparalleled in World of Tanks. It has great DPM, it has great burst damage, and it's got a magazine that, while it's not the biggest magazine you'll ever play around with, it's still a magazine that nobody really wants to contend with. So I don't really want to come around this corner here and feed my hit points to the TVP. I'm just going to allow the 430U to grind them out. I don't really want to take 2 extra shots. We hear the TVP fire once, we hear the TVP fire twice, and considering that I thought that the TVP might be reloading or just aiming at the 430, I come around the corner, I put 1 into them, and I put 2 into them, finishing them off, and then having another 2 shots for the EBR, who doesn't look like they quite realize that I'll be reloading in that scenario and decide to rush out anyway. I think in that situation, it would have probably been better for the EBR to not run away and just to focus on the 430U on my team with the 430U on the enemy team. But yeah, I'm not complaining. Allowing me to reload in a TVP with my 2600 base DPM, that's something that you don't want to do. So I let the 430U on my team know that I'm going to help them out, and it's all about just connecting the shells into the lower plate. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's as easy as World of Tanks, baby. 1,271 damage dealt there to the tier 10 Soviet medium tank. Now up to 8,600 damage dealt. The TVP is on the absolute warpath. And considering that I thought earlier on in the game that I managed to hit 1 or possibly 2 blind shots, I'm salivating at the prospect. Is this finally going to be QB's chance to be able to get 10,000 damage in World of Tanks as we put 1 in? We put 2 in. We put 3. Will the 4th go in as well? It does. We're up to 9,500 damage. And the pesky 430U dumps us from down below with a clutch shot into the top of my turret. Mate, look, you didn't have to be so salty about that magazine that I put into your lower plate, right? Oh, goodness gracious. If only I'd hit that extra shot on the Conqueror, then I would have had the extra shell to put into the IS-3A. Oh, or alternatively, maybe I could have been able to survive and reload and then go after the 430U. So we managed to see, if I get out the way, if I get out the way for a second. Oh, my arm's not that long. Hold on, back, where, what? No. What? This one. As I dance around the screen. Okay, Wraith mode engaged. As I managed to do 9,589 damage that we saw. Do we manage to hit those 2 blind shots? Will this be the 10,000 damage dealt? Well, spoilers, as my team manages to camp this one out and still take down a mammoth game for the TVP, lo and behold, we didn't actually manage to damage that tank that we were shooting with any of the blind shots. I know. Oh dear, only 9,589 damage dealt here in the TVP in under 9 minutes, giving us a high caliber, a tank sniper for dealing a lot of that at long distances, and a top gun for the 6 kills that we managed to claim. Now, yeah, unfortunately, I ran out of ammunition. It's not often that you have to deal 9,589 damage in this vehicle, and considering that it has one of the worst penetrations of only 248 on the standard rounds, I do pack a lot of heat with 310mm of pen in this tank. Unfortunately, I really didn't need all of those heat rounds. It's just, you're not always having to do that much damage in World of Tanks. And we end up losing 28,000 credits, even with the premium count spending nearly 120k on ammunition. But at that stage of the game, I couldn't really care. I was trying to go for the 10k, and unfortunately, it wasn't quite to be. I don't know what's up with it. I've done over 9,000 damage, probably about 5 times so far or more this year, of which I've put most of them up on the YouTube channel, but we can't quite breach that magical 10k barrier. Oh well, I'm still happy showing you exactly why the TVP is still the absolute daddy of burst. And I'm really looking forward to managing to finish all of the field mods on this tank so I can actually end up making my DPM a little bit lower. Yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice the DPM to be able to gain the possibility of being maximum aim. Or shall I say fully aimed while still unloading at maximum speed. That'll be something to contend with. But maybe I'll find that I don't need that and that I actually want to try and pump up the DPM of this vehicle so I can try and get more mags out. Stay tuned to the channel. I will spill all the beans very soon. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's why World of Tanks is as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. At least when you're playing the TVP. If you enjoyed the video today, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, however, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on Sunday, well, firstly, happy Easter to all of you out there who are celebrating today. And if you are looking for some afternoon entertainment, or more probably evening entertainment, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase live right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And this week, looks like you really want to see the T57 Heavy, which is kind of the burst damage daddy of all of the heavy tanks. So if you've enjoyed this video, then come along and I'll showcase all of the American auto loading heavy tank line so you can see whether these kind of knife fighting vehicles are still worth getting in 2022. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.